You've probably invoked the Bill of Rights at some point, even if you didn't call it that. Pleading the Fifth, free speech, a right to remain silent. 10 amendments that get treated like they fell from the sky in 1791, fully formed. They didn't. Most of them have a direct ancestor, a document written in England 100 years earlier, and that document only exists because of a few days of wind in the English Channel in 1688. A Protestant prince named William of Orange, married to the English king's own daughter, had been invited by a group of English nobles to cross the Channel and take the throne from his Catholic father-in-law, King James II. On November 3rd, 1688, William's fleet did exactly that. More than 400 ships sailing down the English Channel in full view of the coast, in daylight, taking hours just to pass. 40,000 soldiers and sailors aboard. And Englishmen traveling with the fleet wrote that soldiers crowded the decks just to look at the white cliffs and Dover Castle, that the ships, quote, bespangled the whole channel, end quote, with their colors flying, firing salutes toward England on one side and France on the other. The English fleet, more than 30 warships strong and loyal to James on paper, never left its anchorage to stop a single one of them. It couldn't. Contemporaries had names for this. An easterly wind, the one now filling Dutch sails, they called a Protestant wind. A westerly, the one that would have freed the English fleet to fight, they called a Popish wind. For days, England got the wrong one. The Navy's helplessness wasn't only the wind's doing. Its crews were short on sailors, its captains privately unsure whether they'd even fight for a Catholic king who'd spent 3 years alarming a Protestant country. There was open talk of mutiny aboard ship. King James had predicted the whole ordeal weeks earlier in a letter to his own admiral. The first easterly wind, he warned, and the Dutch would slip past while the English fleet sat stuck. He was right, not that it really mattered. William landed unopposed at Torbay on November 5th, coming ashore behind a banner that promised he had come to maintain, quote, the liberties of England and the Protestant religion, end quote. It took 2 days just to get the cavalry's horses into the water and swimming for shore. James marched out to meet an invasion his own army still technically outnumbered, and then watched it dissolve in his hands. Commanders defected one by one. His own daughter Anne, siding with her husband's cause over her father's, fled to join the other camp. By December, James was finished. Before he fled London at night, he dropped the Great Seal of England into the Thames on purpose to make it harder for anyone to legally call a parliament without it. He didn't make it far. Fishermen near the coast mistook him for a fleeing Catholic priest, robbed him on the spot with his money, his watch, and his coronation ring, and held him until soldiers came. He was brought back to London under guard. William, who wanted no Catholic water on his hands, deliberately left him an open door, and on December 23rd, James used it. This time he made it to France. He never set foot in England again. James's regime was already rotting before the fleet ever sailed. An army of doubtful loyalty, a country that had stopped trusting him, commanders already quietly choosing sides. None of that alone gets an invasion fleet onto an English beach. Take away that wind, and the English fleet is free, fully armed, sitting exactly where it needed to be to fight. A naval battle in the Channel in November 1688 could have gone any direction, and a king with no battle to lose doesn't have to drop his seal of office in a river and run for the coast. What Parliament demanded before it would even hand William and Mary the crown became law as the Bill of Rights on December 16, 1689, a new set of limits on what any monarch could do without Parliament's consent. Most of America's 10 amendments took a slower road to get here, through colonial charters and the Virginia Declaration written nearly a century later. But at least one clause of the American Bill of Rights came across from the English one almost word for word, sitting in our country's founding document, because a king once threw his own seal of office into a river and ran for the coast, and a wind blew the wrong way for him, and the right way for everyone who came after.